Good evening and welcome. I am Meryl Allison, and I'm privileged to be the president of the Board of Directors of MHA of Westchester. Thank you for joining us this evening as we honor two very worthy members of our community, Rob CLARFELD and Yvonne Trapp. We are all together in spirit, and we are all together in our chat box, which appears next to the video screen. On behalf of MHA and the Board of Directors, I would like to acknowledge and thank the generous sponsors of tonight's event. We are very fortunate that this is a long list, so I hope you'll indulge me. First of all, our presenting sponsors, CLARFELD Citizens Private Wealth, the Paul J. Wrobleski Foundation, and Bill Rhodes. Our platinum sponsors, Alan and Jeanette Fairhurst and Regeneron, John J. Roche, and Strategies for Wealth. Our silver sponsors, Meryl Allison and Elisa Burns, Yvonne Trapp and Alan Epstein, the Green Hut family and Sheer Science, Michael and Kate Lombardi, the Ostman family, Perelson Wiener Certified Public Accountants. Our bronze sponsors, Mary Jo and Orrin Bramson, Mary Foster, Patrice Ingracia and Chris Broda, Hub International, Jen and Steve Kassoff, Alan Majewski and Deborah Solomon, Gerald Stern and Carla Pasquale, Team Daniel, Running for Recovery from Mental Illness, and USI Insurance Services. I would also like to acknowledge our co-chairs, Jackie Boissonneau and Nick Parada. If you tuned in early, you may have heard from MHA's very own Jim Quayle, and later tonight, you'll also hear from Nelson Adler. I'd like to thank these two MHA staff members for sharing their musical talents with us. I'd also like to thank my colleagues on the Board of Directors for their consistent dedication to our mission and the invaluable insights they provide. Finally, and most importantly, I thank the talented team of individuals leading and running MHA. Needless to say, this has been an extremely challenging 12 months. But you have more than risen to the challenge.
CLARFELD Citizens Private Wealth is a proud sponsor of tonight's event. On behalf of everyone at the company, we'd like to congratulate MHA and all of the honorees.
Good evening. I'm Charlotte Ostman, the CEO of MHA Westchester. Thank you so much for joining us tonight as we celebrate our honorees, Mr. Rob CLARFELD and Ms. Yvonne Trapp, for their extraordinary service to our community. I'd like to acknowledge some other of our special guests and supporters. Michael Orth, Commissioner, Westchester County Department of Mental Health. Joe Glazer, Deputy Commissioner of the Department of Community Mental Health. Glenn Liebman, CEO of Mahaney's. Assemblywoman Aileen Gunther. County Executive George Latimer. Michael Leitzes, Commissioner of the Rockland County Department of Mental Health. Dr. Susan Horder, Medical Director from the Rockland County Department of Mental Health. Dr. Mary Jean Marsico, Superintendent at Rockland BOCES. Dr. Chris Felicello, Superintendent of North Rockland School District. New York State Senator David Carlucci, and Congresswoman Andrea Stewart-Cousins. I'd also like to acknowledge some others that deserve honoring. During this unprecedented time, our staff has displayed a kind of devotion and flexibility the likes of which I have never seen. We are all aware of the tremendous challenges that people in all walks of life are facing right now. We have several hundred staff who have remained connected to our mission and purpose to support many of those in need. Doctors and nurses showed up to give injections and complete lab work. Residential counselors visited our clients in their homes to make sure they were safe and had medicine, food, and supplies. Care managers made outreach calls and virtual visits to coordinate care and provide support. Staff in our many children's services checked in on foster care kids and families with histories of domestic violence. Peer specialists took our community center and food pantry mobile, checking in on folks as they made deliveries. Clinicians supported people through illness, death, financial hardship, racial violence, social injustice, and loss of all sorts. It wasn't just our direct care staff that showed up. It takes a village of administrative and back office staff to keep this organization thriving. IT was present daily and pushed out countless pieces of equipment to enable telehealth care. Human Resources offered strategies to help employees fulfill their work responsibilities while juggling the needs of their own families at a time when childcare is scarce and parents are homeschooling. Facilities and compliance made sure everyone had the cleanest, safest working conditions possible by securing PPE and other resources, as well as modifying environments and protocols. Finance and other administrative staff came to open mail, deposit checks, and manage referrals. Our development department staff were busy producing information for social media, arranging community conversations, and planning this gala, our first of the virtual kind. Our board was highly active in monitoring the well-being of the agency and offering stewardship in key areas. I could go on and on. The point is, MHA has been here for the community since day one of this pandemic and many other crises, because our staff is committed to showing up and staying connected. The coming months and years are going to be tough. We already see a sharp increase in substance use, overdose, and substance-related deaths. The same is true for suicide attempts and deaths. This generation of children and first responders will need a whole different kind of support, and we are working to design the specialized services today. I hope as you hear our stories tonight, you will consider supporting the work we do in whatever way that works best for you. Thank you. May you and yours remain safe and well.
Thank you, Charlotte, for that inspiring message and reminder of how valued and essential the staff are at MHA. It's hard to follow that. I'm Jenna Velez, Vice President of External Affairs, and thrilled to be joining you all this evening. Charlotte spoke about the devotion and flexibility our staff displayed, and I'd be remiss not to mention how appreciative the staff were for the devotion and flexibility she displayed toward us as well. As Charlotte shared some of what makes MHA so special, I'd like to now introduce you to our work in another way. Please enjoy this look at our agency and who we are. And since we would probably have had the chance to talk to you about your connection to MHA if we were attending an in-person gala, please help us recreate that by sharing what makes MHA so special to you in the chat. We want to connect with you.
The Mental Health Association of Westchester provides innovative behavioral health care to individuals, families, children, and adolescents. We have been around since the late 1940s, and since then we have continued to grow with multiple clinic locations in Westchester and Rockland County. We wrap ourselves around an individual. We provide them with services regardless of their ability to pay, regardless of what insurance type that they necessarily carry, because we know that they are in need of these services and we don't want to provide additional barriers than they may already face.
I do believe a person's overall well-being relies on their mental health and their physical health. I believe it goes hand in hand. I don't believe that you can neglect one or the other. You do need to be taking care of both in order for you to have an overall well-being in those areas.
I work with clients on various goals such as interpersonal skills, even crisis prevention. I provide customized approach to their treatment. Each individual is their unique being. They all come with their own personality traits, their own unique situations. So therefore, they require a unique approach, distinct to each individual.
Here at MHA, the philosophy that we have is that we believe that you do not get better in order to find employment. We feel that you find employment in order to get better. The fulfilling impact that a job can have on a person's mental health is the ability to create structure for that person, a sense of meaningfulness in their self, that they have something to do. It provides a great deal of structure for that person's life.
Mental health and substance use go hand in hand. And to address this, you have to address both the mental health issue and the substance use issue at the same time. I offer support in assessment and evaluations, in referrals, and in counseling.
Despite the challenges, despite the stressors, we are living proof that recovery is not only possible, but probable. We never promise that life is going to be easy, that things are going to work out all the time, but we can promise that it gets better. And we are living proof that it gets better. I am a peer, and I can help.
I'm a care manager, and I can help.
I'm a CASAC, I'm a credentialed alcoholism and substance abuse counselor, and I can help.
I'm an employment specialist, and I can help.
I'm a clinician, and I can help.
We believe in your mental health. We're MHA, and we can help.
Good evening. I'm Dwayne Mays, Program Director of the Recovery Network and Peer Training here at the Mental Health Association of Westchester.
And I'm Raquel Bender, Coordinator of Integrated Services here at the Mental Health Association of Westchester. Welcome to our first virtual gala. Normally at our gala, we'd have the chance to meet some of you in person. One of the many benefits of this virtual gala is we get to speak with all of you at once. As many of you may know, MHA is a leader in our community in integrating peer services, and we would like a chance to speak to you about why peer services are so important.
So peer service as a peer support is a well-researched, evidence-based practice which has been proven to be an effective support to the clinical services which individuals in mental health services can benefit from. The idea of sharing a lived experience, providing practical guidance, and mentorship and positive role models has been widely accepted.
So one of the many peer programs that we have here at MHA is INSET, Intensive and Sustained Engagement and Treatment. INSET offers supplemental and integrated supports for MHA clients who have been high utilizers of intensive and expensive services due to histories of multiple psychiatric hospitalizations and or periods of incarcerations due to mental health issues. The INSET team supports these clients in the community, links them to needed social services, engages family supports, and coordinates care across MHA services.
Not only do we deliver direct peer support service, but we also help develop the next line of peer workers by providing a peer support program, a training program which leads to New York State certification, paving a pathway to meaningful employment. For example, we've just completed classroom training of individuals who are interested in becoming certified peer specialists. Now they're seeking opportunities to put the principles and practices of peer support which they learn to use. I'm sure there are some openings for them to jumpstart their careers in the Westchester Recovery Network as recovery specialists, using their training and lived experience to assist others find their passions and living more productive, satisfying, and independent, self-sufficient lives in the community.
And I know that I have hired a couple of people from the peer training class for INSET, and it has been amazing working with everybody. So I can attest to that. And
thank you all for your continued support of our programs at the Mental Health Association of Westchester, and hope you all have a wonderful evening.
have a great night.
As the world seems upside down in turmoil, we all wish it were as simple as this to adjust our position. MHA has had the resilience to power through even during these difficult times, and for this we're very thankful.
Thanks, Alan. I'm Jeanette from the Board of Directors, and we've stepped up our sponsorship this year so that we can personally thank each and every one of the staff and volunteers for all their efforts. Thanks.
Thanks so much.
And congratulations, Yvonne.
Hi, my name is Jerry Harnick. I'm Senior Partner at Strategies for Wealth here in Westchester, and I just wanted to take a moment to congratulate this year's honorees, Yvonne Tropp and my good friend, Rob CLARFELD. Rob, you're a man of compassion, you're a man of generosity, and I couldn't think of a better person to be honored this year by MHA. MHA is an important organization, and especially in these times, committed to the emotional and psychological well-being of the people of Westchester County. Have a good evening, everyone, and wishing you all health and safety.
Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us for this reimagined gala under some very unique circumstances. My name is Sean Mayer. I'm a very proud member of MHA Westchester's Board of Directors. Some of you already know the story behind my involvement with MHA. My brother Ryan died by suicide in July 2014 after a 20-year battle with mental illness. He was 32 and my only sibling. In the weeks that followed, I developed a desire to help other families touched by mental illness, to assist parents, siblings, spouses, and children caught in the maelstrom accompanying a loved one's struggles, and to comfort those dealing with the loss to suicide of someone dear. I reached out to the folks at MHA Westchester, and a funny thing happened. I lost a family member, and I'd give anything to have him back, but I gained a second family, a family whose members are steeped in empathy and compassion, expertly versed in recovery-based services, and committed to providing the highest level of patient-centric care in our communities. And MHA Westchester's breadth of services extends far beyond suicide prevention. Just ask a foster child who has benefited from having one of our specially trained, court-appointed special advocates in their corner, a community volunteer such as Yvonne Tropp, who is so deservedly being honored this evening. During the COVID-19 pandemic, CASA volunteers have been meeting with children via telephone, video, or in person with masks and social distancing. They've continued to submit reports to the court, and now that courts are open, CASA volunteers are participating in hearings virtually. Or you can just ask one of the many people who have benefited from our peer services, including our peer specialists. Our peer specialists provide connection to behavioral health services, lend housing and employment support, help individuals transition from hospital admissions back to their lives, and offer 24/7 support to help de-escalate crises, thereby keeping people from unnecessary hospitalizations. MHA trains individuals to become peer specialists, preparing them for their New York State certification and thus creating a pathway to meaningful employment. Or you can just ask an individual who has taken advantage of our community connection phone line. Recognizing that isolation and loneliness were growing problems even before the pandemic, MHA implemented the community connection phone line for conversation and support. Behavioral health professionals staff the phone line, lending an ear and making referrals when appropriate. And best of all, there's no cost to the callers. MHA Westchester's mission is to promote mental health through advocacy, community education, and direct services. And since its founding in 1946, the organization has excelled in meeting the needs of thousands of men, women, children, and families each year. In these challenging times, with the pandemic and social unrest weighing so heavily on so many of us, MHA's robust services, advocacy programs, and community events are needed more than ever, and we're thrilled to be able to provide them for you. We need you now more than ever, too. Your contributions help fund these essential programs and services, and we so desperately want to continue to offer them to community members in need. We hope tonight you'll consider supporting MHA Westchester by making a donation that is meaningful to you. You can do so online by visiting our event page at mha.onlinegalas.org. That's mha.onlinegalas.org. Or you can text MHA to 3-1996. I appreciate your joining us this evening, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the presentation.
Wow, that is another really tough act to follow, as Sean always speaks so openly and in such a heartfelt way. He referenced how joining MHA's board was like joining a family, and those connections have been so meaningful in these last months. The MHA family is lucky to have Sean as a member. One way we have remained connected to our community during this challenging time is through our series of virtual community conversations, where we came together to discuss topics such as screen time for children, navigating grief of lost experiences, promoting post-traumatic growth, and fostering resilience. How have you remained connected to those around you? We would love for you to share with us in the chat now. Now to our next guest, who we have hoped to have at an in-person community conversation this spring, and she recently spoke to our staff as part of a large staff training. I am pleased to introduce Emily Esfahani-Smith, author of The Power of Meaning, Finding Fulfillment in a World Obsessed with Happiness.
Hi everyone, my name is Emily Esfahani-Smith and I am the author of The Power of Meaning. Barbara Bernstein asked me to speak a couple of minutes with you guys about what I learned writing my book and how it relates to the theme of your event, which is the power of connection. And I was so excited when she did because the idea of connection and its relationship to meaning is one of my favorite topics. So in my book, just to give a really quick snapshot of it, part of what I was trying to do was turn to psychology research and the stories of people who I interviewed to find out, what are the sources of meaning in people's lives. And I'm sure it's no surprise to you guys to learn that relationships are an important source of meaning. But what I found did surprise me a little bit, which was that it's not just that relationships themselves contribute to a meaningful life. It's really a particular kind of relationship. And in my book, I refer to it as a relationship of belonging, one in which you're valued for who you are intrinsically and where you value someone else for who they are intrinsically. And nowadays, it's been several years since I wrote the book. Nowadays, what I really think about when I think about belonging relationships and the types of relationships that confer meaning, it's the ones where we feel a soul-to-soul connection with someone, where we really walk away from the relationship, from the interaction, from the connection, feeling like we were heard, like we were seen, and, as I mentioned earlier, really valued by the other person and affirmed. And I think that this conception of belonging is one that can bring us a lot of hope, especially during this time that we're in, where we're maybe not seeing people as much or in the same way that we did before. Because one of the things that I learned as I wrote my book is that this type of belonging is something that we can cultivate with anyone at any time, and it exists in the moment. So it's not just like some of our relationships have belonging and give us meaning and some of them don't. We can actually choose to cultivate belonging with others, whether it's, we're standing in line at the Starbucks or the grocery store and we have, a sincere conversation with the person checking us out, even if, it's hello, how are you? Sometimes those little things, making eye contact, smiling at another person, asking them how they are, those moments make people feel seen and valued. And I'm sure you all know in the work that you do, when people come in to have someone to speak to, because in most of their life, no one is asking them those kind of questions, just valuing them and seeing them for who they are, trying to have a soul-to-soul connection with them, however brief and momentary. It can really be transformative for a lot of people. I remember when I was researching my book, I looked at I found a kind of this issue of Life magazine where many people were asked, what gives your life meaning? What can you think of moments in your life where your life felt really meaningful? And this one woman, if I'm remembering correctly, who was a biologist, talked specifically about the high school student who was working at the grocery store, bagging her groceries, and how he seemed really down and depressed and sad. And that as she was, picking up her groceries that he bagged, they just kind of made eye contact with one another. And she felt like she was expressing to him in that moment compassion for how he was feeling just by her body language and the eye contact. And that she felt, had somehow received that. And this may have been kind of transformative for him. And maybe you can think of moments in your own life where that's happened for you, where someone, through some small gesture, has made you feel seen in that way, and how that kind of meeting of souls maybe allowed you to walk away from the interaction feeling a little bit more elevated, seen, and as if you matter to them. And that's really what meaning is. When we feel like we matter to others, we believe that our lives matter to ourselves. So I want to thank you guys for doing the work that you do, because so much of what you do is helping other people feel valued in that way. And it's such important work. So I can't wait to see where it takes all of you in the next chapter as I keep in touch with Barbara. And thank you so much for allowing me to be part of this event.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Emily, for highlighting something very important that I wanted to talk about tonight, which is how seeking meaning in life gives people a foundation to hold on to and help people become their best selves. The amazing staff here at MHA do this every day for the people we serve. My name is Stacey Roberts. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at MHA Westchester. I've had the honor and pleasure of being a part of the MHA family for 21 years, a place where I have found a community of colleagues that are bonded through commitment, passion, and a drive to do what matters. For nearly 75 years, MHA has remained a strong agency with the ability to adapt and transform based on the needs of the clients and the community. In the past 6 months, the strength of our organization has met that expectation as our cohesiveness, flexibility, and ability to be nimble during a challenging period of time. Within a matter of a few days, MHA had to transform its delivery of services to assure all our clients and families were served utilizing telehealth. We pivoted quickly, as evidenced by initially providing 6% of telehealth services, and currently we provide approximately 95% of telehealth services. How did we stay connected during this time? We have long recognized that it is in relationships that recovery happens, and it is in relationships that staff come together as a cohesive unit to meet the needs in the community. This staff's strong foundation supported the work during the new way of delivering services. Through it all, we have remained connected to our clients and to each other. Please join me hearing from staff at MHA what connection means to them. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Gabby. To me, connection means creating relationships of empathy and compassion with others, but also with yourself.
Hi, I'm Dustin. To me, connection means feeling comfortable, being able to reach out to someone day or night, and sharing good or bad news with them.
Hi, I'm Veronica, and to me, connection means trust, honesty, love, vulnerability, acceptance, a safe place, and communication. Without these things, we cannot create a true connection.
Hi, I'm Marianne. To me, connection means creating a deeper level of understanding and trust in my relationships with others.
Hi, I'm Chris. To me, connection means knowing that you are not alone in this world.
Hi, I'm Shannon. To me, connection means relationships with my friends and family where we support each other and we're there for each other no matter what.
Good evening. My name is Dottie Stevenson, and connection means to me listening to understand, never to judge, always be compassionate and be present. And in this day and age, with the different demands on families, it's families and parenting differently. For me, especially, it means momming differently, and just having that understanding. The overarching theme in this is to have understanding. Thank you.
You have just heard from a few members of MHA staff about what connection means to them. I am grateful to be connected to MHA. My name is Tracy Wilmot, and I am a member of the Board of Directors. I can say with certainty that this has been an extremely challenging year for many, personally and professionally. Many have lost jobs and loved ones due to the pandemic. This has also been an emotionally charged year, not only with the challenges in healthcare, but in response to the social issues of the day including deaths such as George Floyd's. The need for an organization, our organization, MHA of Westchester, that addresses this and other mental health issues is central to providing care for the whole person. As a member of the board, I serve on the Human Resources Committee. I know that care for the caregiver has been front and center for our essential workers, our MHA employees. We are living our mission. We are walking the walk, not just in providing excellent care to our clients, but in serving MHA's employees from peer support to facilitated courageous conversations about equity, about advancement, and about social justice. MHA has led with the care and compassion we have come to expect. It has truly been an honor to serve on this board. Thank you and have a great evening.
Good evening. My name is Jackie Boissonneau, the Executive Director of the New York State Court-Appointed Special Advocates, or CASA program of New York State, and the former Director of CASA here at MHA Westchester for over 20 years. CASAs are professionally trained community volunteers appointed by family court judges to serve as advocates for children who have been the victims of abuse or neglect. CASAs monitor a child's health, education, mental health, and well-being, identifying and advocating for any unmet needs, and serving as a support to the court and child welfare systems. Tonight, I have the pleasure of introducing longtime CASA champion for children and my friend Yvonne Trop. In 2001, having raised 4 daughters and retiring from the banking industry, Yvonne joined our Westchester CASA team. Although most CASAs are assigned to one family at a time, Yvonne made me promise to keep her busy. Through the years, she has advocated for 17 children and 13 families. She has devoted over 2,600 hours to CASA, and if that isn't enough, Yvonne has been a member of the MHA Westchester Board of Directors for the past 17 years. As a board member, Yvonne has graciously given of her time and her expertise. She has raised funds to support MHA and for her beloved CASA program. But what is most admirable is the difference she has made in the lives of children. As a CASA, Yvonne has witnessed it all. Nothing was above or beneath her. She met families right where they were, in Westchester, the Bronx, and in New Jersey. And yes, this tiny lady even became expert at conducting visits at the county jail. Yvonne has been appointed to children across a spectrum of placements. Children home in the care of their parents, children in kinship placements because their biological parents could not adequately care for them, and children who were adopted by loving foster parents. CASA is vital to children in foster care. Children with a CASA receive more services. They're less likely to remain in long-term foster care. They're more likely to be reunified with their families, and children re-enter foster care at lower rates than those without the benefit of a CASA. Despite the COVID-19 crisis, when many systems were struggling, CASA programs quickly pivoted and adopted procedures for continuing operations safely. CASAs have continued to have eyes on kids via FaceTime and Zoom. They've conducted porch drops of supplies and activities, and they've secured computers so that children could attend school online. CASA programs like the one here at MHA are needed more now than ever. Recently, children have been at home, away from those trained to identify neglect and abuse. While reports of abuse and neglect are down, those cases that have been reported are more severe. Many families are in crisis. They have lost their jobs, their housing, they're facing food insecurity. As already at-risk children have gone back to school, both virtually and in person, CASA advocates can be a critical support to help families navigate at best new schedules, transportation, technology, and learning challenges. CASAs focus on the unique needs of one child at a time and can be the one consistent adult presence in a child's life. My sincere thanks to Yvonne for her devotion to CASA and MHA for nearly 20 years. Many children's lives have been made better because of her care and belief that all children, our children, deserve more. It has been said many times that by lifting up the least of us, you lift up us all. Yvonne has embodied this in her life and through her work with CASA and MHA. Congratulations, there is no one more deserving of this special recognition.
A billion thanks, my so dear Jackie. Yes, we have known each other for nearly 20 wonderful years together. Due to your leadership of Mental Health Association of Westchester's CASA project, in which you were my constant supervisor, we became close personal friends, and I too am so very proud of you for all you have done for and with us volunteers, and for your tremendous work now as CEO of New York State's CASA program. With thanks also to Jackie's successor here in Westchester, Michaeli McElnay, who is now doing a terrific job in motivating and leading us CASA advocates. I also want to thank two of our longtime supervisors, Barbara Morgan and Benita Marks. Benita supported my joining CASA after I retired from my career in finance back in 2001. Benita's and my children attended Mamaroneck schools together, which caused us to become friends a very long time ago. Yes, everyone, I have monitored many foster care children and their biological parents, as well as everyone in their foster care homes. We advocates send reports to family court judges, sharing all we know, in order to help finalize a case with permanency, either when the child returns to its parent or is adopted by its wonderful foster parents. Most of the children I have monitored became close to me, and I absolutely love a gift that one of them gave to me. A little jewelry box that has engraved on it, "To the world you might be one person, but to one person you might be the world." This is so typical of how every one of us CASA advocates becomes enormously close to the children and to the families we support. Tonight, I appreciate so much being honored by Mental Health Association of Westchester and its fabulous board. I am so very grateful also to our terrific CEO, Charlotte Osmond, who stunned me a few weeks ago with her amazing phone call to inform me about this honorary evening. Thank you so very much, Charlotte, and I hope you understand how much our board admires and enjoys working with you. I am also hugely appreciative of our most recent board presidents, Michael Lombardi and our current leader, Meryl Allison. I also enjoy interacting with members of the current board at our various meetings. Thanks also to two sensational MHA staff persons who have worked diligently to put this wonderful evening together. Barbara Bernstein, Chief Planning Officer, and Shannon Catoro, Director of Development. Needless to say, in addition to my work with foster care children, which I sometimes do describe at board meetings, I am deeply impressed with and pleased to listen to MHA staff and board members talk about the huge number of extremely important programs and services offered to our community. Finally, all of us involved with Mental Health Association of Westchester are enormously thankful for our relatives, friends, and admirers' financial support, now and forever. So, again, my deepest thanks to you, Jackie, and to all of you for honoring me tonight, with special affection, of course, for members of my Trop family, and for my second husband, Alan Epstein, along with his family, for all of their consistent support. I'm now throwing a virtual hug and kiss to everyone currently listening to me. I will surely remember this event for the rest of my life.
Yet again, another tough person to follow. Yvonne, just like that jewelry box you mentioned, you have made a world of difference to countless numbers of people, and you have been a treasure to MHA. I want to reiterate that donations made tonight help support unfunded services such as CASA. You can make a donation on this page or by texting to the number on your screen. Earlier, Sean mentioned making a donation that is meaningful to you. And we would also love if you'd share with us what that meaning is for you. You can do that now in the chat. Now I have the pleasure of introducing Nelson Adler, an MHA staff member who has generously agreed to share his musical talent with us. After we hear a short song from Nelson, you'll meet MHA board member and event co-chair Nick Parada, who will be introducing us to our next honoree, Robert Clarfeld.
Hello, I'm Nelson Adler. I'm a clinician at MHA. During these stressful times, it's vitally important to remain connected. One of the ways I remain connected is through songwriting and music, which support my health and my healing. Healing is not necessarily getting better, better and worse, such relative terms. Once we stop trying to be what we're not, we can step out of the fire, stop complaining we're burned. Healing takes place even as illness advances. We still find spiritual kindness and care. With love, compassion, faith, hope, and devotion, inner peace is possible, love's always there. Inner peace is possible, love's always there. Don't confuse yourself with your diagnosis. You're much more, you're a member of your family. You're a husband, wife, mother, father, son, or daughter. Don't let them reduce you, just let it be. Healing is not necessarily getting better, better and worse are such relative terms. Once we stop trying to be what we're not, we can step out of the fire, stop complaining we're burned. Every moment's a gift, that's why they call it the present. Yesterday's gone, tomorrow's not here. Take time to cultivate inner silence. Giving thanks is a practice every day of the year. Each soul has its place, is part of the chorus, has a reason for being here, though we know why. If you see a person you judge to be somewhat below you, put your judgment aside, say, there for God's grace go I. Put your judgment aside, saying, but for grace go I. Healing is not necessarily getting better, better and worse, they're such simplified terms. Once we stop trying to be what we're not, back away from the fire and not complain anymore that we're burned. From our first moments till our final hours, I wish that life would be love, laughter, and peace. But we're weak and we're human, works in progress. Thank God for forgiveness, will our trials never cease. I thank God for forgiveness, will our trials never cease. Let go of the past, let go of the future. Let go of regrets and expectations too. If you find yourself clinging to what's never been yours, you have to count something. Your counting your blessings will do. Your breath and your blessings always will do. If you're feeling sad, lonely, sick, and forgotten, hopeless beyond all chance of repair, when you wake up, you cry out, Lord, why am I living? All is not lost, you're talking to God like He's there, and you can talk to God and trust that He cares. Have no worries, no fear, no anger, no cry. Everything on earth has a beginning, must have an end. When's the end of the journey, the time to go home is upon us. We're momentary yet beautiful, but love never ends. We're momentary yet beautiful, love never ends. Thank you to your caregivers, I know it can't be easy, watching your loved ones struggle to get by. Your kindness amazes me, your steadiness humbles me. If there really is a heaven, I've seen it in your eyes. If there really is a heaven, seen it in your eyes. Healing is not necessarily getting better, better and worse, such exaggerated terms. Dance by yourself or dance with your partner. This dance of life is a lesson to be learned, and the love you give is the love that you've earned, and the love you give is the love that you've earned, and the love you give is the love that you've earned.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight at our virtual gala. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Nicholas Parada, and I'm one of the board members here at MHA. I've been part of this organization for the past 4.5 years. Thinking back to what drew me to get more involved with MHA, primarily it was the want and the need to be more impactful in an area that I'm passionate about. Personally, I've lost close friends to mental illness and addiction, and know that many today have been touched by these situations as well. With those friends' names always in mind, I wanted to give back to a cause that I have a lot of passion for. From the moment I connected with MHA, I knew I wanted to become more involved. The extraordinary work that the team at MHA does and the amount of families and lives they touch is quite astounding and never ceases to amaze me. MHA is an organization made up of frontline individuals that really go above and beyond for their clients and the organization. They continue to be innovative and mission-orientated to provide care to all those who are in need. This year I have the honor and pleasure to introduce our honoree, Rob CLARFELD. I spent the last 15 years working side by side with Rob at CLARFELD Citizens Private Wealth. We did not just work closely together in the office, we would also travel on business together all around the world. And I'd be lying if this experience and friendship has not profoundly impacted me in both a personal as well as a professional way. Rob has been a mentor to me for a decade and a half, and I've never met anyone quite like him. He is a motivated man and driven and never loses sight of what's most important, giving back and doing more. Rob has a tremendous heart as well as a giving spirit. I assure you that anyone who has met him would definitely agree. It is these characteristics that Rob exudes which are the reasons why he is being honored here tonight. We are honoring Rob for his many, many years of support that he has provided to MHA, his generosity, as well as his personal commitment to the work we do here. Without further ado, it is my esteemed pleasure to introduce our honoree, Rob CLARFELD.
Good evening. Thank you, Nick, for your very kind introduction. I'm flattered to be one of this evening's co-honorees. I want to share this honor with my late business partner and very dear friend, Paul Wrobleski, who shared my belief that a successful firm, in addition to serving clients and colleagues, must also serve the community within which it operates. I miss you, Paul. And I'm very appreciative of my dear friend, Donna Wrobleski, and Craig, my nephew, as directors of the Paul J. Wrobleski Foundation, and having chose to sponsor this evening's gala. To me, the MHA is all about service to the community. For nearly 75 years, MHA has provided our community with essential mental health services. Of the many services that are offered to the community, especially important to me are the many programs providing services for our veterans, some going back to soldiers returning from World War II. The MHA does tremendous work with suicide prevention, and most recently, the MHA provides support for our first responders during the current COVID pandemic. I like to think of the MHA as a group of heroes. So what do I mean by hero? A hero is defined as a person who is admired or idolized for courage, outstanding achievement, or noble qualities. So who are our MHA heroes? They're the men and women who make a profound difference in the lives of the clients they serve, the frontline clinicians. And our clinicians are supported by still more heroes, the men and women essential to the clinicians that enable them to do their job. These heroes include Charlotte and our incredibly talented leadership team who design and administer our critically important community mental health programs. And our MHA heroes also include the many program, support, and administrative folks that provide the infrastructure that enables the MHA to exist. We have another group of incredibly essential heroes without whom we wouldn't be an organization. And I'm addressing many of you right now. You are our sponsors, our support, our donors, who are essential to the MHA. Without you, there would be no MHA. It is through your ongoing generosity that the MHA can do the work that it does. Please acknowledge yourself for your commitment and generosity. The MHA certainly does. And in keeping with the theme of heroes, there's one more group of people whom I want to acknowledge, perhaps our most important group, a group with unlimited courage. These folks are the clients whom the MHA serves. Seeking treatment for mental health issues, unfortunately, is often stigmatized by society. And reaching out when one is in need can be incredibly scary. Yet, asking for help, investing in one's own well-being, is an act of great courage. There are many other MHA heroes. Unfortunately, my allotted time is limited. So whether you are comfortable with the label hero or not, you are one, nevertheless. Thank you, the men and women who comprise MHA, for all of your fabulous work. And thank you, Our sponsors and donors, thank you for your generosity. And thank you for honoring me during this very special evening.
Good evening. Thank you, Rob, for honoring our many heroes. Heroes about whom our audience has heard this evening and many that they've met. My name is Barbara Bernstein. I am the Chief Planning Officer at MHA Westchester. I have been part of this MHA family since 1995. I have remained here because of this organization's unwavering commitment to treat our clients with respect and dignity, to deliver the highest quality of service possible, and to always move forward, leading the way in the delivery of behavioral health services in our community. No one in this region offers the constellation of services and supports that we do. There was a deep need for behavioral health services in our community prior to our being rocked by COVID-19. For many, these needs have been exacerbated by the events of the past 6 months. Coronavirus and its derivative disruptions, issues of social justice and systemic racism, and uncertainty about the future. For so many others, anxiety, depression, the impact of trauma, and fear for the future have resulted from these ongoing uncertainties. Never have I heard mental health discussed so openly and so frequently in news coverage and in general conversation. The conversations are essential, and we welcome them. These conversations help to reduce the stigma associated with mental health concerns and also encourage people to seek assistance. But they also highlight that the community's need for MHA is greater than it has ever been, just when traditional sources of support are reduced. This means that we need you more than ever. I expect that every one of us has had the experience of reaching out in times of upset, whether after losing a loved one to struggling with feelings of despair. We have each benefited from connecting with someone who has had a similar experience. Connecting with someone around similar life experience is the heart of peer support. I also expect that every one of us resonates with the power of providing stable, caring adult support to a vulnerable child. And certainly, we all appreciate the need to assist our essential workers at this time. Rob called you heroes, and you are. Heroes run toward the problem to help, and we need your help now. As we move toward the close of our evening, we call on you once again to support our community. Text MHA to 31996 to donate now or make a contribution as indicated below. I think of the graphic for tonight's event, a series of beams, if you will, our own individual pathways that coalesce into a communal hub. The hub of our MHA community, the components that Rob identified, people we serve, staff, donors, and sponsors. We thank you for joining our community of heroes this evening. We look forward to seeing you on October 15th, 2021.
We are MHA, and connection happens here.
Supported housing happens here.
Services and shelters happen here.
Medication-assisted treatment happens here. Peer services happen here.
Veteran services happen here.
Employment services happen here.
Advocacy for children in foster care happens here.
Servicios en español ocurren aquí.
suicide prevention work happens here.
Substance use disorder services happen here.
Clinic services for all ages happen here.
Essential services happen here.
Every life some rain must fall, and learn to live and rise above it all. As hopeless as it seems, don't let anyone be stepping on your dreams, and keep it on the positive side. Keep it on the positive side. Caught up in the negative, such a waste of time. No, it's no way to live.